We are here. Artem.
Hello, yeah. Hey,
Good
hi Gary.
good evening, my friend.
Good afternoon.
So, Artem, I got a
Yeah.
lot of good questions, and I think it's still something that we could work a little bit more on in understanding the cause and effect. So, we thought we would talk a little bit more about things to do and
Mm-hmm.
ways to control our environment today. You okay with that? We'll act like
Yeah,
we'll act like you don't
totally.
know about it. So we just wanted to just give everybody a little refresher. Last week we talked about public distance, social distance, personal distance, intimate distance, and this is the social. I don't really know what to call it. It's personal space diagram, but I think it's something that we acknowledge in ourselves, and because we feel it, but I think we don't give enough credit to the animals. I actually read a pretty good article about it afterwards, and they were talking about how different cultures feel different about personal space. I don't know if I had
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
this. They were saying in India that India is more of a collective culture. People work together, so their personal space is much smaller. They're used to
Mm-hmm.
being closer, and they were giving
Mm-hmm.
American as an example where people tend to work individualistically. So their
Mm-hmm.
personal space is a little farther. And they were doing some interesting interpretations in the article. And one of them was that sometimes in India, people get frustrated because Americans stand so far away when they talk. They're like, why are you standing so far away from me? And I think why I just wanted to tell that because I think it's a great reminder that we just have to remember everybody's different, and especially while we're working with dogs, nobody's trying to offend anyone. It's just what we feel. Um,
and yeah, do you finish?
yeah.
And that thought came into my mind. And that thing that we're talking about, it's actually something uh, very ancient. It's all about survival. So that's why we feel it.
Yeah.
It's ancient thing which I guess most animal have.
Hmm.
Even like try to catch a fly, she will run away when you came closer.
Yeah.
So it's about survival, and we forget about that many times
Yep.
when it goes about dogs.
No, absolutely. So we just wanted to do a quick little refresher show that. Is there any comments or questions? I wanted to see if there was anybody that became more aware of their personal space and their
Oh yeah.
animals over the last 2 weeks. Did you notice, were you more observant of when you sat on the couch if your dog just automatically came over? Were you able to push your dog away if you were eating something and you didn't want them there? Um, I think another thing that, like we were talking about that bubble, Artem, is like when you're just going out the front door, like how crowded do you feel? Are you able to have a bubble around you that the dog doesn't invade just because they feel like it? So if you've have felt any changes or observations, we'd love to hear about it. Also, if you did try some things, if you were saying like, hey, you know what, I noticed like I don't like when my dog does that. If there are some things that you tried, or if you have some questions, that's what we want to touch on some things today, and we'll go over some, some things that we feel like are healthy exercises that anybody can try. Um, so yeah, please, leave a comment, share if you feel comfortable, because that's what we're here for. We just, trying to build this community of people that are thinking, saving dogs' lives and respecting them for what they are. So, do you have anything that you wanted to add, Artem?
No,
You're
let's
good.
go.
Okay.
We have that list. Let's
Yeah,
let's go through that.
perfect. So I saw this little story and I thought this was kind of funny. We're talking about personal space with animals, and I thought this was a good example of people that we would right away not enjoy something like this. And it was about coworkers. So what if you constantly came into what if you had a pesky coworker that constantly came into your work area, borrowed things without asking, stood extremely close to you, wouldn't go away when you asked them? Like we all know what that feels like. So what would you do? How would you respond? And most of us would feel uncomfortable. And we would say, can you back off a little bit? Do you mind asking me before you take my stapler? What if they started stealing things out of your trash and then spreading it all around the house? I mean, these are the things that we live with when we let dogs into our personal space. And my question for you, Artem, is, do you feel like saying when people say no to their dogs that they're taking away love, or it has to do with how much they love their animal? Why are people afraid to say no?
It will. I'll try to explain it the way I see it in a short way. So I guess they see that no as a problem, as something that will hurt the dog, because they have how to say, too emotional attitude towards the dog. People who feel that, they have, we'll be honest, unhealthy attitude towards the dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they struggle with saying no, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, he will not love me when I'll say no. So it's like, it's bigger problem.
Yeah.
It's like not being aware of what's really happening and why that no, it's opposite. It's healthy thing.
Yeah. Well, it also sounds like, Artem, what you're saying is people are prioritizing love over respect.
And it's not love, it's just affection.
Yeah.
It's just emotions.
Yeah. And we've talked about it. I mean, how valuable. I don't see dogs rubbing on each other when they're in daycare, so how valuable could it be for them?
And this is another big topic. So do we love them for who they are? So then we should understand them. Or we love them to be something for us, to play a role, which we have here, and which one is not connected at all to what's really happening.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe people have that, and I'm constantly seeing that, how he will be not able to be here 24/7. Yeah, because this is have nothing to do with love.
And the other part, Artem, is the dog isn't, what I find with a lot of those people that get that mixed up is the dog's not with them a lot anyway, because they can't walk them. They can't tell them to stop barking when they're in the car. They can't take them to their friend's house. They have a dog-friendly office and can't bring the dog there. So there's so much that they can't do anyway.
Yeah, the dog have that called love, and everything else is not even limited. Like, not even, the dog is not even able to have it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll touch on this a little bit more, but I just thought that was kind of interesting how I feel
people, like. So let me summarize. Like, people,
the Artem summary,
becoming too emotional. Like, people can talk, like you said a few minutes ago. Most people will tell, "Don't do this to me," to another human, but or for some way, even to little kids, like 1 year old, no, don't do this.
Great point. Yes.
Yeah, but to the dog,
no,
I love him so much. No. He can hump me.
Yes. Yeah. He can totally disrespect me, but I love him so much. So I figured, since we talked about this week, like in our private conversations about where we would go. I think we just talked about bringing a little bit more clarity to some of these points that we talked about last week. So I figured we would discuss a little bit more about we had talked about personally, and I think sometimes, we got to like just remember how we do this every day and talk to a lot of professionals, and we have to make sure we're bringing just ultimate clarity. But to me, what are boundaries and limitations? And what I wrote in our Google Doc here was boundaries and limitations are when, where, and for how long I'm allowed to control the resources. So where I'm allowed to tell you to get out, when I'm allowed to tell you to get out, and for how long I'm allowed to tell you to get out. So that was kind of my quick and dirty about boundaries and limitations. Just wanted to, see what you want to add to something like that. If
No,
no, yeah, because I mean,
no, just go.
yeah, because I think boundaries, like we talked about, they're invisible bubbles, and
Yeah,
if your dog's allowed to invade your boundary without invitation and constantly gets away with it, for like you talked about the example of walking into your dog's space, what happens, right? Like, why is that important? What do you think? So if I walk into my dog's space and they don't, what should they do?
back off.
Yeah,
They should back off.
yeah,
Because this is what I tried to explain you, but my English wasn't good last night. Like, if we cannot make them feel to back off from us, how we will make them back off from being ahead on a leash and pulling towards everything to back off from another dog who is barking on another side.
yeah,
And it's all emotional. It's not physical. Most dogs we can physically, how to say it, like
we could solve the
physically
problem.
remove
Yeah, absolutely.
from in a space, yeah, or
Yeah,
close the door.
yeah,
But we need them. We need they how to say it? Let me think.
it's what
We
Brand.
need to show that to them, and they need to feel it.
Yeah, it's what I mean. Kind of what you're saying is what Brandon always says: is you can't solve
Yeah,
an
absolutely.
emotional problem with a physical solution. So if
Yeah,
your dog is
yeah,
having an emotion around the front door, putting them in a
yeah,
bedroom, which is a physical solution, isn't going to change the way they feel. It'll make it easier
yeah,
for you in the moment, but it's
yeah.
not going
And
to.
when, for example, when I'm coming towards that door and I'm trying to make that dog back off, but everything that he feel around me, it's not respecting me. It's manipulating me. It's being physical towards me. It's being excited because of me.
Yeah,
So boom, this is where
yeah.
we need to work.
So the boundaries and limitations are a way of educating your dog about creating distance. And
Yeah,
distance and control of that distance is what gives you the ultimate power to control your environment. So it's the reason why your dog won't bolt out the front door. Is because if I'm
yes,
standing between the front door and the dog knows my personal bubble is not something to go into. So then I don't have to worry about my dog going out the front door because it's not looking at me like an obstacle to get around to get to what the front door is, which is a stimulant. So
mm-hmm.
when we go to move, when we have a dog that sits on the couch, I mean, all these things are a way that we can create distance. And I'm kind of a tough love guy. I mean, you know me for a while now. I mean, and people can accept it or not. It's not up for debate. It's in their language to create space and learn. I mean, their mom teaches them from an early age how to create space, and it's an important part of the vocabulary.
Yeah. And actually, they cannot be social, cannot be pack members if they don't know that language of giving distance, showing respect, feeling that emotion because of which one they giving that distance. This it's like it's really important social skills for them.
Yeah, and that was our the next thing. That's that's what helps your dog be the dog that you want him to be in the world. But it's just when it's hard when you're at home and you have that stressful day. I mean, I get it. I get it, but I always try to look at my responsibility is to make my dog's life the most fulfilling it can be. And sitting on my lap watching Netflix, staring at the same wall that they did yesterday, isn't. It's not it's not happiness for them. It's happiness for the person that's using the dog as an emotional, crutch. But it can be tough, and it's what affects their lives on a daily basis. So you had just said, we were talking about if you just go to a dog park and observe dogs. This is exactly what we're talking about. You go to a dog beach. How do they go through the world in those situations? They look at these personal spaces. They see another dog, and they say, "Should I get close?" Depending on what they're saying. So all of this is draining them
Yeah.
mentally, and is very important for them to be able to make those choices and learn those skills.
Yeah, and if they have that, let's say, proper education from puppyhood, they understand that. So because of that, when they see each other, they can really think. And what we see as a problems, they're not thinking, they're reacting without thought, like lunging on another dog, like chasing another dog. And those dogs who have that education from maybe mother, if we're talking about stray dogs, or and other dogs who live with people, where people at least have that rules and boundaries around personal space. Some people actually have that naturally.
Yeah.
For some people, it's just not acceptable when dog doing something towards them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why for us, like, the observation is something I think we've both spent so much time and energy to learn without interference, observation without interference, how they go through the world. My friend Jana calls it being a supportive shadow. Our job is to just be there and tell the dogs what we don't like, but we should be there learning and just watching. So one of the things we were talking about, is our responses and the things that we educate our dogs with, and that personal space can. The next topic, I mean, we'll lead into it a little bit later, but I think the next topic is definitely going to be a hot button for people, and it's a little bit into what we're talking about now, which is when a dog feels stimulated by something, what they actually do with that energy. If they go towards the stimulant or they learn to give the stimulant space because they're able to judge, I'm not sure here. And that's what we talked about with dog parks, dog beaches, socialization. I'm taking them to your friend's house, whatever it is, where they can make their own choices is how they learn these skills. So one of the things we had just talked about was, our relationship with certain dogs. And something I struggle with is, when people say to me, well, that's because of this. Like, you can do that, Gary, because of this thing. Like, you can walk my dog here because of this. Like I have some type of superpower, or like you have some type of superpower. And do you think this all just boils down to being clear and having boundaries? So like,
And
so say,
ask me again, but in other words, I'm not understanding it
yeah.
clearly.
So say you take a client dog to the coffee shop.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I understand the situation, but
yeah.
what you asked me, I didn't get.
What makes you, in this topic that we're talking about, what do you think
Hmm.
gives you that leverage to be able to do that with that animal? Something that their owner, who loves them more than you do, right? Let's face it.
It's things that dog don't know about me. Don't know, not knowing, but don't know that he can be bold towards me physically. How to say? how to say it, like physical with me, like doing physical stuff with me, because he don't, because those dogs never see me making them excited, anxious. So because those dogs don't know that things about me, and because why they don't know it, because I'm not behaving that way, then I'm adding some type of things that I'm doing, and they believe in me.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And this is the reason why these dogs not believe in their humans, because they know many things about them.
yeah. Yeah.
And this is where change should this is what they should change by changing behavior.
Yeah. And their dogs' lives get so much more fulfilled. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
when you tell your dog I don't like something and they're like, "Oh, okay." That's such a powerful thing. I mean, it removes so many fears and opens up the dog's lives, because most of what people are trying to do is manage liability. Well, I don't want to take him there because he might jump on somebody. I don't want to do that
Yeah.
because he might,
Yeah.
this. But when you can tell your dog something and then they go along with that and they're like, "Oh, okay, you didn't like that, so I'll do something else." It's powerful. I mean, I don't love my clients' dogs as much as they do. I mean, I love dogs. I respect them, but I don't, in their version of love, I don't love them as much as they do. But ultimately, is one of the things, Brandon always says, what the hell's love got to do with it? Knowledge is what the dogs are following. And so one of the other things I've noticed about boundaries, and I don't know if you've noticed this with clients also, do you see that they struggle with that in other parts of their lives? As far as, maybe setting like a healthy boundary in their, like a relationship or at work? Because I had
With
a
some people, yes, yes. With some people, yeah.
because I had a situation that happened recently. I was talking to a client about boundaries, and the little, you could see the little light bulb go off for her, and she says, "I do a lot of free work," and it's because she doesn't set good boundaries at work. She doesn't, and I thought that was fascinating because she finally put the two pieces together between what her dog was there to teach her was boundaries, to be able to say it's okay to say no. We talked about Dr. Gabor Mate a lot, the
Oh, yeah.
psychologist, and he always
I
says
just
guilt should be
thinking.
your best friend. Guilt reminds you that you're taking care of yourself. It doesn't mean that you can't be a good person, but when you say no because you're prioritizing yourself, when you're setting a healthy boundary, you should reward yourself for that, because there's a lot of people that will take advantage of those boundaries.
Yep.
Just looking. So I have one question I want to come back to in a little bit. But so we talked about some things here, Artem. We wanted to try to make this a fast one because it is a repeat of the same topic, but I think we had some different just pieces that we wanted to add here. So I think a lot of people, to just kind of head on this, there's a lot of people that have resentment and frustration towards their dogs. You know those two words?
Resentment and frustration. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they do certain things with their dog that cause the problems that they're having, but they don't realize it. And then they get angry at their dog for doing those things that they taught them. And I'm a big believer in those boundaries remove resentment, they remove frustration, they reduce stress. What do you think about that?
In in like you already explained it. What do you mean?
Like, so do you find that clients who don't set good boundaries get angry at
All
their,
of the all of them struggle.
yeah,
All of them. Then all of them struggle.
yeah. So what kind of examples of resentment? I mean, for me, it's a lot of times physical. they'll correct their dogs for jumping on people, even though they're the ones, like you just showed me in that video of a friend who's got their dog climbing on them and humping them. I mean, how do you feel like it comes out?
I'm not getting what you're asking me.
Yeah. So when people don't set a good boundary, they
Yeah.
tend to penalize their dog for it. Right? Like the dog should not be doing this thing, even though
Yeah.
they're the ones that talked about it. I don't know if you can share an example of something like that. It could be as something, like having a dinner party and the dog's pushy around the table, and then they get frustrated with the dog. I mean, is there any examples that you have from clients that you hear these kinds of stories?
Just regular stuff when dog jumping and everybody, when people come home and dog jumping and they okay with that and even happy about that for the first minute, and then other 10 minutes they no stop enough stop no stop.
Yeah,
And when you just came home, I don't know, maybe you want to go to toilet or something like that, and that dog is jumping here,
yeah,
frustration coming,
yeah,
people become tense.
yeah,
I saw that a million times.
yeah. So what do you so we're gonna go into some of these what do you do things. Do you want me to do you remember some of these, or do you have your document opened? What do you
No, I'm not having that document open.
Okay. So we talked about claiming things.
Let me add something.
Yeah.
You said that when dogs clearly understand what we don't like, life becoming way easier for us and for the dog. And I guess what we try, why we're talking about this topic uh, today again, because a lot of people not connecting what dog doing here affects everything else. And if we are not able to tell the dog, and if we are not aware what we should, how to say, stop doing and say no to it about ourselves when dog doing something towards us. So if we are not saying don't do this to me, then we will be not able to tell don't do this to grandma or somebody else. So that's why that topic is so important for me. It's like foundation of relationships.
Yeah.
It's where they find out who you are, my human.
Yeah.
Are you my personal clone? So then I will not rely on you. I even will be behaving like your. If you are a clone, I will be behaving like your freak. And we will be a good company.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is why we're talking about it second time. Like we need to set these boundaries and limitations around ourselves, around our personal space. We should tell them no when they do something towards us, because this is how they communicate with each other. And as Brandon always said, dogs only can think as dogs.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to figure out, oh, you are the human, so we can do this. And this is like every time I'm here, like people when people saying he giving me hugs, he kissing me, he is licking you, not kissing, and it means something in that animal head, but not kissing.
Yeah. That's us intellectualizing it. Not.
Yeah, and trying to make that form that bring joy to us, but not connected to reality. And that's why we can see this type of news that you talked about in a live feed. Where can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah,
Like
I will. I
reminder?
think this is a good point. My friend Alicia, who just spent some time with
Yeah.
me at my house, she had talked about this, and she's not saying it as an excuse. She's giving, she's works with dogs too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so she was saying that a lot of people are, bosses all day long, so they don't want to come home and be a boss to their dog. And for me, I always say, bullshit. What if you're doing a remodel on your home and you just worked all day long and you come home and the contractors do something wrong? Are you not going to feel like being a boss to them? Like, that's bullshit. If the mechanic is giving you, the runaround on something, are you not going to feel like being the boss? No. It's a conscious choice we're making. Just it's okay
Yeah.
to not do it, but just be honest that it's not the truth. It's not reality. And ultimately it's your responsibility, because your dog didn't sign up for my mom's a boss all day, my dad's a boss all day, and then I can be a spoiled trust fund baby all night. Like, they didn't sign up for that. So I don't know if you have anything to add about that, but that one always kind of irks me when people.
And if we're really becoming their boss in their terms, then we will be able to have hugs and kisses, but in a right way, without consequence on the walls or when uh, somebody come towards our home.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And if we only using our dogs to have that emotional support without thinking what's really happening, that leads to big problems as for the dog and as for the human, especially with some dogs.
Yeah. All right, so I have something that I'll come back to, but I figured, actually, let's just do it now. So
Yeah.
somebody in the comments had wrote something about that they think respect is a human created term for animals, that they're not able to respect us, they obey us. And I looked up the word respect in the dictionary here.
Mm-hmm.
And it says a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly, when I'm using the word, what I'm looking for. I want my dog to have a deep admiration for my abilities to keep him safe, to assess danger. I want them to have deep admiration for my qualities as somebody that puts the group first and not myself, and for my achievements of constantly doing that. I don't let them down. I don't put them in a situation where they have bad problems. So I don't know. Do you have a feeling about that word, or?
We can talk about it in a different ways, but let's maybe clarify what we mean when we're using that word respect.
Yeah.
Uh, as for me, it's my dog rely on me, listen to me because who I am, and this is what happening between them.
Mm-hmm.
We can see it again. Everything we're trying to share and find, all of that things you can go and see in a dog park.
Yeah.
It's happening, and you don't need to buy something or learn some system or visit some school. It's happening between them. Everything that we're trying to do to figure out how we can apply that on our behavior, on our communication with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I.
For example, if again about personal space in general, if a stray dog, I don't know how situation in LA with. I know that a lot of stray dogs, but don't know. Do you have stray dogs attacks or not? But here sometimes that happening. So automatically, people who not running away, they start moving forwards using objects to make that dogs who barking, stray dogs barking at people, those people trying to make that dogs go away and they move forward. So, and this is what we're talking about. Personal spaces matter.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So some things to do.
Yeah.
We had talked about some things in the last episode. One of the things you had written down here is to own your personal space first, the space in your home, the things outside, and you'll be able to control your dog. So how do you find the translation of being able to keep a dog out of a kitchen or keep a dog out of an area that you don't want them in right now to being able to help somebody get power outside their home when the dog is reactive on a leash?
I have simple explanation for that. It's same situation. It's still me trying to influence the dog emotions,
Mm-hmm.
trying to change how that dog feeling in that moment. And if I'm not able to do that uh, with my personal space, with space where we live, chances that I will be able to do that on walks where a lot of stimulants going close to zero.
Yeah.
It's still me trying to influence that dog.
Uh,
Like
yeah.
uh, like when we're going outside with when I'm going outside with my wife, that relationships that we have and conversation and attitude to each other not created on that walk. It's created everywhere, daily basis.
Yeah. No,
At
absolutely.
home, yeah. So that's why it's so important, and that's why that connected, and that's why we're talking about it again.
It's kind of funny. So we're in the process of moving right now. I told you, like yesterday was just an absolute
Yeah.
nightmare, and I'm barely keeping it together right now because my mind is in 100 different directions. But I'm staying with a client, and
Uh-huh.
she is like a huge, powerful person in Hollywood, right? Like she's got lots of people that work for her, and she's in charge of a huge budget. And what she said to me this morning was hysterical. She says, I'm really cautious that you're here because now I'm, in her mind, the boss, which is what she does every single day. So by being in her personal space, I'm not doing anything. I'm not judgmental. I don't tell her to do anything because I'm not her, in charge of her dogs. I just have a certain relationship with her dogs. So I'm able to do things, not do things. But it was just really funny the way she said that this morning was, I have her thinking. And it wasn't anything that I've done in particular. I'm not walking around following her, like micromanaging her, but it's just in this personal
Just relationship that you have and had, which one developed before, yeah?
And I said that to her. I said, well, do people act different when you're at work? And she's like, yeah. Like Brandon says, it's a strength of personality. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not physical. She's not grabbing the director of her TV show saying, you better do this properly. Right? She walks in and because of her achievements and the way she makes people feel, she's earned that right to make people feel differently. And so it was good clarity for me when I hope she doesn't mind. Sometimes she watches this, so I hope she doesn't mind me sharing that story. But I just thought that was really comical because I mean, here I am, this person who's in charge of like all these things, and I'm sitting here like, in her kitchen, and she's being thoughtful. So you had wrote a couple other things. You talked about making a dog go away from a spot where he or she's been lying, not only if they're sleeping. I think that's what
Yeah.
you wrote. Do you want to just emphasize something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. People can try this, but what I want to say before we'll go deeper into it, don't do that with dog who have human aggression, who maybe can show aggression towards you, because this is now how that things can be solved, not through the watching Gary and Artem talking.
Yeah, and that's what's always dangerous about the do parts, is because
Yeah,
we don't know who your dog is, your relationship is. So if you're the kind of person that goes to sit on your couch and your dog snaps at you or growls at you, then this isn't the exercise for you, right? But if you
yeah,
have your happy-go-lucky, normal, just kind of butthead type of dog, then this is something that you're going to say that could wake them up and start to earn back your pieces of personal space. So do you want to share what you were going to say?
yeah. So that first bullet point, try to, if dog if the dog is lying somewhere but not sleeping, try to go there and move. This is dog, this is you, and move, move, move. Even if you need, you can use carefully your legs, like you riding on skis. Then you will not, how to say, step on the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So try move, 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 move. Dog will feel that pressure, and see what will happen if dog going away.
Yeah.
If the dog lying and looking at you like, what's happening? I'm lying here, like, what are you doing? Which means that dog is not, how to say, feeling anything.
Yep.
The dog, even, how to say, trying to resist because still lying on the floor.
Yeah, he's saying I'm comfortable. Why
Yeah,
are you
and
trying to
this
move?
is where those things um, transfer from theory to practice. Like, if you're not able to move that dog away when he's lying on the floor, you will be not able to tell him what you don't like in some type of more hard situation. It's for sure.
Like we
Because here he's not accepting,
Yeah.
he's not feeling that, he's not obeying.
Yeah.
He only wants to do what he wants.
Because this becomes valuable when you walk towards the front door and your dog backs up.
Yeah,
And that's what everybody wants. I want to open the door, but when the UPS person comes, the dog wants to go. Well, if I'm standing there, why would the dog go? And that's part of what we can do here. And what I think one of the things that people do in that exercise when they're observing this for the first time is they continue to go, 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 even when the dog's retreating. So,
no, they should stop. Yeah, they should stop when dog is backing off, and it is like some piece of air between
yep.
dog and human. And I'm always telling also, stop and stare at the dog for 3-5 seconds, like,
Yeah.
to make him absorb that
Yeah.
a little bit better, and then go back. And if he's trying to come back immediately, there we should be very consistent.
Yeah. We have some dogs like that at daycare that aren't so thoughtful. So sometimes they'll be laying on the couch.
Uh-huh.
And when I walk to the couch, they should wake up and assess what's going on here. And the ones that don't learn fast that when I approach the couch, for some reason, they get dumped off. So I walk over to the couch and I'll just pick the blanket up and they scatter and then I sit on the couch. Because I want them to understand that when I move into your personal space, you should be thoughtful because that's what I represent. There might be something here that I have to take care of. And I've seen that happen time after time after time at the dog park. You might have, or in homes with groups of dogs, where you might have a dog that's barking at the fence, the security system, and then you have the dog who in the house is hierarchically, I don't remember how to say that word. In the hierarchy, higher jogs over, that dog stops barking and usually backs off because now somebody is here to take care of this. Thank you for letting me know. But they learn what to do with their feet. So this can,
Mm-hmm.
this becomes something that I want them to be aware of. So when I walk, I don't need them jumping off every single couch, but I want them to at least assess my mood and say, do they need something? Oh, no, everything's cool. Okay. And they go back to doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
One of the dogs is sleeping and they're chirping in their sleep. That always is the funniest thing to me. They're like, while they're sleeping. So that was one of the things we had talked about. Moving into our dog space, assessing what they do is a good indication of what's happening in our personal space. Do they assess? Do they
Yeah.
give a bubble? And that is so important because it deals with jumping. It deals with when we drop stuff on the floor when we're cooking. So if I drop something on the floor and then I reach down for it, my dog should back off because he's saying, oh, it's yours. But how many dogs run in and it becomes you have to rush to get it before they get it? And then it becomes a competition. I'm not here to compete, especially with a dog. I'm not going to compete with you.
Yeah.
That's, okay, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. So one of the things I'd seen this somewhere. I don't know if it was in Brandon's material or something. I just thought this was really good. For boundaries, when we're creating boundaries, size doesn't matter. It's just the ability to be able to do it. And I think that's really powerful. The dog doesn't need a 10,000 square foot yard. They just want their corner. They just want their bowl. They just want to be able to, for whatever's closest enough to them that they can sniff, that's what they're setting the boundary for. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we talked about how this opens the possibilities for so many dogs. I mean, can you share a story where a person has made that change where they started to create boundaries and now their dog's life has opened up? They're able to walk a dog in a place they haven't been able to go, be able to take their dog to places they haven't been able to go. Can you think of something recently that's happened?
Big, huge cane corso and 20, I guess she's around 20-year-old girl, which one walked that with that dog like that, and he been, how to say, owning her at home, owning her, like whatever she goes, he been controlling her. And we'd also done few things on the walk, and she made that homework inside the house, and that dog walking behind. And she's not able to control him physically. He's way powerful than
Oh, yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So right now, they're enjoying walks.
Yeah.
Her hands are feels okay.
Yeah.
And it started from home. He been obsessed about her, like obsessed, not obsessed, but he been obsessed about controlling and owning her at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And complete opposite behavior outside. She wanted to go somewhere else, and that leash between them created the problem.
I mean, I love being able to get people to include their animal into the life that they live. I mean, that's just such a awesome feeling for somebody to say, "Oh man, I just took them there and we didn't have any problems, or we did this,"
Yeah.
and it's beautiful because ultimately I just think about the dog saying, "Shit, they don't have to sit at home now," and that's why we go back.
Yeah.
Go. No, go.
Go.
No, go.
What I found also why home is so important, because at home we communicating with our dogs without leash. So it's like one animal affecting another animal without physical connection, like it's happening between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that's very connected to how dogs will behave off leash
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah. So Artem, we want to try to keep it shorter. Obviously, we talked more than
Yeah,
we normally
and we're
did.
going 1 hour
Yeah.
already.
So I'm going to click it. It's going on the screen right now. I made it last week. Artem's final thoughts. Any final thoughts from today, Artem? You always have a good way of summarizing. Put you on the spot right away. The thing you said last week that I loved is ultimately the thing I loved that you said last week, and this is my Artem summarization from last week, is respect yourself. That's what it comes
Yeah,
down to,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And we cannot gain respect from our dogs if we do not respect ourselves in that relationships.
Yeah. You're worth it. Like you're worth the respect.
Yeah,
That's what I try to tell people.
like people who stay in abuse relationships. It's happening not because mostly it's happening not because somebody doing that towards them because they allowing to do this. They still in that relationship. They're still like playing that role
Mm-hmm.
for that human who behave badly.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So choose happiness for both of you
Yeah. No, absolutely.
by creating that bubble and that rules.
So we do a little teaser for next week, Artem. Next week's going to get people fired up.
Yeah, let's do this.
So toys,
Yeah, choice.
games,
Oh yes.
love.
What love?
A lot of dogs die because of those things, Artem.
Yeah,
A lot of people struggle because of those things, Artem.
for sure.
We're really going to dive into it's something I've observed, but I did not become fully aware of until Brandon started talking about that to me. About what does
Same to me. It blew my mind when I saw
absolutely.
that. It's like whoa.
And for me, it is the absolute holy grail of the search for truth should start with no assumptions. If you really, really, really want to help animals, whether you're a shelter, a rescue, an owner, a trainer, we have to be totally willing to be open-minded about the patterns that we're seeing. And honestly, there's nobody out there, Artem, that's documenting this. I see more advertising, even from my own professional dog training organizations, for these contraptions and toys and stimulants. I haven't seen one piece, not one little tiny piece, to show me that any of it is working.
Yeah.
Could somebody please, and this is part of what I'm going to do in the future with my nonprofit because nobody else is doing it, so then I'm going to do it. When these people are mauled, when dogs are going to the shelter, how do we know? How do we try to actually stop this problem? How do we know when they get to the next home or spending their time in the shelter, we're not just creating the same problem that got this dog homeless in the first place? So, the dogs that are getting relinquished, what was that dog's life like? What were the people doing? That's what's really going to make this change. Not just doing it, because doing it's not working. I mean, if it was working, it would have worked by now, right?
Yeah.
If dog training was working, if free tennis balls and tug toys, if it was working, there's an endless $86 billion industry of doing that. So how can we still have homeless dogs? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how. It's powerful to stop and think about it.
How we still have dogs killing their owners, attacking their owners. Yeah.
And nobody asks why. I mean,
Hmm.
I Googled, I did a live feed on Facebook this week about a woman that was mauled by her dogs in Texas. The dogs broke out of a fence and bit the neighbor, got quarantined. She went to visit, and the dogs killed her. Who, anywhere
Yeah.
in the world, is there anybody trying to figure out that problem? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying like, I know how to solve that problem. The dog needed to learn how to sit. How do you know that? Did you spend time learning about the dog's life? Or do you just think sit is the answer for everything? I've never met a dog that couldn't sit. I've never met a dog that couldn't lay down. I never met a dog that couldn't stay away from things they're apprehensive of. But I know a lot of dogs who know sit and still act like complete assholes. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about more. It's about creating neurotic predators. And I have an article on my website that I wrote about that. 2 articles, actually. The Cycle of a Bad Dog, where we talk about how this happens, and then creating neurotic predators. Because I did it for many years, and it wasn't, it was a different skill. We were creating sport dogs, which you need that. But if you're trying to create a working dog that you can take to the bakery to have coffee, it can be troublesome. So, anything else you want to add, Artem? That'll be our talk for next week. I'm sure a lot of.
No.
Did you already have dinner?
Yeah. Please. Yeah. Please let us know what was your insights from that personal space conversations.
Yeah.
You can leave comments below here and lately on YouTube if you will be watching it there. Please let us know if you did something, how it changed.
So this is a great question. My friend Julie just posted here about playing games with the dogs. And she's asking it as a question, and what we're going to talk about next week. And these are some of the things that I hear all the time. Is teaching the dog an off switch. It's just a game. All of these things, and she's not saying she's not trying to validate it. She's asking these as questions and observations. She rescues lots of dogs. Julie's a very knowledgeable person, so it's she's not trying to hold on to a tennis ball for dear life. These are things that she's saying that I hear a lot, which and I think that's some good places to start, Julie. Some really good questions when we start our outline for next week, where we're going to dig into it, because those are. I think we need to answer those questions, Artem. And one of them is the dog even able to understand a game? Is that something that's human created?
It's not a game.
Yeah, that's what we'll talk about. So, dogs don't play with their deer as they're trying to kill it. It's not a game. It's a predatory skill. So, all right, my friend, you have a wonderful evening. Please leave comments. Let us know if you're struggling with something.
Yeah, let us know, please.
Please. I mean, this is a judgment-free zone. So if you're having a question, we want to be able to help. So if there's a question you have and you don't feel comfortable posting it, message us. We love to help. I mean, we're not trying to just disappear after an hour. We want this to continue throughout the weeks as we come live. So thank you, Artem, my friend, as always.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon, bud. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody, thanks. Bye.
Bye.